Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, and it is designed to be used as a form of payment other than legal tender. Since its introduction in 2009, Bitcoin's popularity has grown, and its applications have expanded, resulting in the creation of numerous competitor cryptocurrencies. Although the process of creating Bitcoin is complicated, investing in it is relatively simple. Crypto exchanges allow investors and speculators to buy and sell Bitcoin. Investors should carefully consider whether Bitcoin is the right investment for them, as with any investment, especially one as new and volatile as Bitcoin. In today's video, let's talk about what might happen to the Bitcoin price. We'll be having Gareth Soloway share his prediction with us. Thank you for watching Diversified Streams, your go-to YouTube channel for all things crypto and finance. Be sure to check out our community post about these subjects. We are curious to know your opinions on these matters. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest news and tips related to crypto. And make sure to keep your notifications on so you'll be updated with our latest videos. We frequently post so you wouldn't want to miss them.
And it's kind of just repaying, and we just borrow more to do that. So in many senses, you could say the US dollar and the US economy is built that same way. But the key is that Bitcoin is now being adopted by more and more people. There's big money involved. I think FTX is a major issue because it really creates mistrust in the crypto industry. But again, from mistrust, regulation will come, which will create transparency. And once you have transparency, that's where real trust is built, right? I mean, before this, we didn't have transparency and we were just hoping that everything was fine. But we know now that's not the case. And so you have that transparency that comes from regulation. And that's what's going to drive big money to invest, in my opinion, in Bitcoin and in Ethereum. Yes, you're absolutely right. It was. I think what people are discovering, and what's interesting is, I've been saying for well over a year that we needed regulation in the space. And again, the key thing is you just need common sense regulation. Now, whether our politicians can actually come up with common sense, I would doubt that. But the hope is, and you have to look at it like this, right? Is it better to have no regulation and then people doing what Sam Bankman-Fried did and mismanaging, client funds and over leveraging and basically people losing fortunes or all their money? Or is it better to have some regulation in the space, maybe a little too much just because our politicians generally do that, but is it better than nothing? And for me, I'm an investor. I want to make money, right? So for me, the deregulation, or I should say the decentralization, isn't as keen of a point as whether or not Bitcoin goes up. Listen, if Bitcoin goes to zero, it doesn't really matter if it's decentralized or not, right? You have to have the foundations of trust, and you have to have rules and regulations to do that. So my hope is that the government doesn't overregulate. I think that for the most part, gold, or I should say Bitcoin, is the digital gold, and that will create its own kind of intrigue once we get transparency in the system. Yeah, so number one, gold's already had an awesome move. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute. I mean, that's had a great move off the lows as the dollar has started to kind of trickle down a little bit. But I think when you look at Bitcoin, like, weirdly enough, if you don't get regulation, I think you could argue that cryptos will eventually go to zero, right? Because think about this, after FTX, and you had a bunch of big money. I mean, Tom Brady, Gisele Bündchen, Kevin O'Leary. I mean, all of these big players were involved in FTX, and now everyone saw that blow up, and there's no sports stars, there's no celebrities, there's no big money that is willing to go near any crypto anymore until they have some sort of transparency, because it's not worth their fortunes, it's not worth their reputations now, right? You have some major tarnishing on reputations. I know there's lawsuits being filed and all that stuff. So the question is are there enough small investors to really create that push in Bitcoin to have it go to 100,000, to have it go to $1 million? And again, I don't know that. And I think that's my biggest concern, is that without that transparency, without that regulation, you're not going to lure the big money in that can really drive it to the upside. Yeah, so that's such an interesting thing, because in reality, it's probably smarter for the central banks to kind of clamp down and the politicians to kind of just get rid of it, because then you only have one option, the US dollar. I mean, you could say gold, other currencies, but this is the beauty of politicians. They all want to get votes. right? It's all about doing what's popular. And right now, the popular thing that's going to get them votes is to get regulation and transparency and make it so a lot of their constituents don't end up losing money in the future, right? They want to be seen acting like, oh, people got hurt. All right, how do we act and make ourselves look good? And that's the beauty of it. So in a weird way, if politicians were farsighted, meaning they looked really far out, they would probably get rid of Bitcoin and get rid of crypto. But they're also micro viewpoint, right? They all want to get reelected in 4 years here in the US. And that's one of the reasons why I think you get Bitcoin to stick around.
Gareth Soloway believes that more and more people are being aware and interested in investing in Bitcoin now, and it will soon drive a lot of people into the space. For Gareth, he believes that we need to have a regulation in the crypto space. This is to avoid people doing what Sam Bankman-Fried did and mismanaging the client's funds and losing people's money. According to him, if we do not get regulation, there is a large possibility that crypto will eventually go to zero. Big names were involved in FTX, such as Tom Brady, Kevin O'Leary, and Gisele Bündchen. He also mentioned that since everyone saw what happened, there's no big names and big money will be willing to invest in crypto until they provide transparency. Gareth thinks that if politicians are far-sighted, they would look far out and might decide to get rid of Bitcoin and crypto. But in a micro viewpoint, they will think about getting re-elected after 4 years here in the United States, and that is why he believes that Bitcoin and crypto will stick around. The crypto market is exponentially growing every year. Although it might seem relatively small, but it is still growing bigger and bigger. There's a lot of companies in crypto that are still in discomfort, whether they are connected to FTX or Solana, which collapsed a few weeks ago. There might be liquidating in positions while they are trying to pay back the investors. For Gareth, as an investor and trading also in Bitcoin, it creates small returns, but according to him, he will patiently wait for the perfect opportunity when regulation kicks in. Gareth reminded us that there is an additional risk in crypto, especially that there is no FDIC insurance in this industry. Now, what do you think about the prediction of Gareth and Bitcoin's price after FTX? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment box. Regulating Bitcoin has been difficult, as it is with any new technology. The current Biden administration seeks to impose regulations on Bitcoin while also attempting not to stifle a growing and economically beneficial industry. Biden has stated that he will work to prevent the illegal use of Bitcoin while also encouraging its development. The United States has focused particularly on regulating cryptocurrency and its criminal use overseas, such as sanctioning cryptocurrency exchanges and individual cryptocurrency wallets and recovering cryptocurrency payments made to criminals. There have also been calls for the United States to create a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, to better direct these sanctions. As the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency worlds develop, so will the regulation, which we will see numerous changes and laws implemented over time. Is Bitcoin a good investment? Bitcoin has a brief investment history marked by extremely volatile prices. It depends on your financial profile, investment portfolio, risk tolerance, and investment goals whether it is a good investment. Before investing in cryptocurrency, you should always seek the advice of a financial professional to ensure that it is appropriate for your circumstances. And that is it for today's video. I hope you found this video informative and helpful. As always, if you did, please show us some love and support by giving this video a big thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. And make sure to keep your notifications on so you will be updated whenever we post new videos on all things related to crypto. This has been Diversified Streams. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you in our next video.